If you happen to have programming skills, or if you have worked in the IT sector in India and you are worried that you might lose your job, don't worry, there is hope. In fact, this video is going to tell you all the different places where a lot of opportunities exist for Indian high skill based engineers, programmers, technicians, what have you, because there are opportunities that are opening up even as some other things are happening around, especially in the EU, that is the European Union. I'm going to take a few countries as an example and walk you through what is going on there, because this has been something that we have been covering in PGurus for a while, and I think you will be happy to know how things are changing, and they are changing rapidly. Here we go. So in February 2023, Sweden enacted a sweeping immigration reform in their laws, whereby now illegal immigration into Sweden is practically completely shut off. They are not going to allow anyone to come in just like that, and they have done this thing in such a way that they would still be in compliance with international commitments. At the same time, they will be able to restrict those who are coming irregularly into Sweden. Remember, Sweden is grappling with this illegal immigrants problem. In fact, if you remember, there was one video that we had done which had actually incurred the wrath of some of the people who are moderating content. And anyway, you know that story that happened 2-3 years ago. Now we are back to Sweden, and that time we had talked about the Liberal Democratic Party of Sweden, how they were, very immigration friendly, but now I think some rethink has happened, and what you're seeing play out in Sweden here is going to play out in practically rest of the Europe, excepting Hungary and Poland, which were not taking any illegal immigrants or legal immigrants. The other countries are all allowing them in, but now they are seeing a lot of challenges. So what they are trying to do is to go back to taking in only those that they need in their essential services. So what they have found out is that there are a lot of labor immigration fraud and the abuse of that. Especially they have been having a torrid time trying to deal with the curtailment of independence of the citizens because of illegal immigrants or even legal immigrants, but a big cultural clash. This has led to a lot of allegations of rape and murder, and a lot of street fights, street burning. You have seen all those scenes. I mean, I'm just summarizing what has been happening in Sweden for the last few years, and now they are really taking a crack at the shadow society. You're also seeing France do something similar, and Germany also has been doing something, and I'm going to start looking at each of these countries. But first I wanted to take a look at Sweden, because they have enacted this law that is far reaching. They will have dignified reception standards, and those who do not have a right to reside in Sweden will be expelled. So this is a big change that Sweden has enacted. Now, I want to tell you that this is just one country, but there are a group of countries there that are called as Scandinavia. I'm just taking a step back and telling you that it's not going to stop at Sweden. It's going to spread, this is my analysis, to some of the neighboring countries also. So it is best to understand the region, the culture, the people. So Scandinavia is loosely referred to 3 different countries: Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Now, Denmark also controls Greenland. That's a huge swath of land. And if you have seen the Netflix series, I think Borgen, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's all about the politics of Denmark. But if you look at the politics of Denmark or Sweden or Norway, they're all more or less the same. Norway is a very rich country because of the oil that it has. The other 2 countries, Sweden and Denmark, we're going to take a look at it, one at a time. Now, they are all very similar in terms of culture, language, and governance. And if you add Finland and Iceland to this, all these countries will get grouped as what is called as Nordic countries. Scandinavia and the Nordic region is about 2.5 crores population. 2.5 crores is 25 million population, and they are almost 40% of the US landmass. I mean, this comes into picture. This big number comes because of Greenland. In Greenland, you can't do much growth or habitation beyond the first few 100 kilometers. After that, it's all ice and polar cap and so on and so forth. But with if the Arctic Sea opens up for navigation, which people expect that because of the climate change and warming, global warming, that there will be ice melt near the Arctic Sea, then who knows, the Greenland could also become green again. So the Scandinavian countries have been trendsetters in the global benchmark. Index and rankings always are in the top 5 in terms of standard of living, and they give a run for the money for United Kingdom and US. Global rankings in terms of corruption, gender equality, press freedom, universal health care, and many others are very complicit as per the OECD norms. So Sweden and all Nordic countries have a high tax system. I think it is 50% or more. Essentially what you are doing is you are placing the faith, your trust in the government to take care of your need, and in exchange the government takes care of your education, your health care, and a bunch of other things. They also provide you good public transportation, because you'll see that in the course of this talk how Sweden and Norway, all these countries are very friendly for, like, for example, biking or for using mass transport. They're also, you know that Sweden and Norway are the 2 countries that give away Nobel Prizes. And the concept about people in Scandinavia is that they, like I said, repose total trust and faith in their government and lawmakers and obey the rules. Now, this is where the problem comes. They are saying that because of these liberal policies, the Democratic Party or equivalent in Sweden has run away with allowing too much immigration, and now that is being dialed back. You're also seeing that Italy has now a conservative government after a long time. With Silvio Berlusconi also passing away, you're going to see more and more things happening in Italy also to crack down on some of the illegal immigration. Now, world famous Swedish brands that you may not know but you are aware of in terms of name, like IKEA, SKF, Skype, all these things are, because of the environment and the way the things are set up in these countries. Nordic countries stand at the forefront when it comes to carbon emissions, global warming, and climate change issues. They use motorcycles, buses, trams, and trains for easy commuting. And they also have a no-car culture, especially in places like Stockholm, where car parking is extremely expensive. In fact, it is true in even cities like San Francisco, New York. It's hell to try and park your car. Lagom, sometimes people also call it lagom. Lagom is a typical Swedish word that means all aspects of life in moderation, be it wealth, food, work, and a sort of contentment, something that is taught in our Vedas. So in terms of how you can relate to their lifestyle, it is very similar to what was taught in our Vedas. Chicago has more Swedish origin Americans in the world after Stockholm and Minneapolis. Minneapolis is the capital of the state of Minnesota, and Minnesota is all Swedish homelands in the early settlements way back in the early 18th and 19th centuries. In fact, that's one reason why Minnesota keeps electing very liberal politicians. Jesse Ventura was a wrestler who became the governor. And the only thing I remember about his term is his statement that he doesn't wear underwear. Go figure. I don't know what else he did. He might have done a lot of good for the people of Minnesota. Those of you who are watching from Minnesota, do add in by way of comments what Jesse Ventura did for you. Also, you know that in Minneapolis, they have Ilhan Omar's constituency. So, and Minnesota is home to a lot of refugees. I don't know when Minnesota also is going to start cracking down on some of these things. Now, Sweden is encouraging talented and highly skilled Indians. A number of young Indian techies are getting their permanent residency within 5 years. And most of the young techies impress their Swedish bosses with their intelligence, hard work, and sincerity. This is the pitch, I guess. So what I'm trying to tell you is there are opportunities in Sweden. You get permanent residency within 5 years. You will, of course, have to go through the process. You should be a good fit. But whatever is happening today in Sweden, where there are going to be some sort of a normalization of relations with India, India is one of those few countries left, few bright spots where people can get the kind of skill set that they are looking for, plus language skills, like, for example, being able to speak in English. Most business in Europe gets done in English. So that's the other plus. So please take a look at this video, and if you like it, please do share it with your friends, and also don't forget to click on the subscribe button. And if you have a smartphone, if you're watching it on a smartphone, you'll be getting event notifications. You click on the bell button and then you will get notifications. Thank you once again. Namaskar.